this up, and then my phone went all weird and seized up, and I had to take out the SIM card and start it again. But I'm here now, yay! Woo! And I've got this little thing that I made last week. You see, it's looking a bit rough. I'm probably going to paint it while I'm here, because I really don't get the opportunity to do these things the rest of the week. Well, I do. I just forgot about it, really. But, yeah, so I want to do this while I'm talking to you. All these millions of people that I'm talking to. Wow, I'm just like Nancy Kaminsky. If Nancy Kaminsky had a weird cat thing that she was going to paint. Scary cat. Very scary looking, but nice to see you all. Hundreds of you, thousands of you. Ooh, so many it's impossible to count. Just, oh, that's not even open. What's this? What's this? Van Dyke Brown. Hello, happy Sunday, Gina. It's nice to see you. Van Dyke Brown. Yeah, let's use that. So, hello, Philip. Nice to see you. Good. So, I'm going to just paint the eyes. And what colour? Do they have little pink noses? Sphinx cats. They don't have black noses, do they? They have little pink noses. So, I've got apricot. That'll do. I won't have to mix it or do anything with it. I'll use apricot. And I'll make a little apricot nose. It's a weird colour for apricot. I've never seen a pink apricot. Basically, there you go, pink apricot. That's what we're calling that, is it? It's more, I don't know, apricot's more orange, really. That's more, I don't even know what colour to call that. It's cat nose colour. That's what it is now. Cat nose. Cat nose. Cat nose Everdeen. That's cat nose colour there. Yeah. Colour it in. There it is. The nose of a cat. Dee 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 dee. No, I'm not drinking at all. I mean, I do occasionally drink, but this is just me. This is just how I am at all times. And also, wine makes me ill. When I was doing stand-up comedy, I used to probably have, if anybody offered me a drink, I'd either have like a rum and coke, or I might have a red wine. And then I realised that the red wine gave me a horrible headache almost as soon as I had it, and then I would have a headache for the next 3 or 4 days. So, kitty! And so I decided not to have that anymore. So I've got pink in the ears as well. I use the apricot, so it's cat ears and cat nose. That's what the colour of this is. Apricot. Yeah. Just a little bit there, and a little bit there. Yeah, so thank you very much for saying that I seem completely intoxicated, Ian. That's great. Thank you. No, it's just me. Have you never seen somebody with joie de vivre? Just it's this ridiculous looking face that I've painted on it. That's made it look really stupid. It's like, wow. Never mind. It is what it is. It is what it is. But there's the kitty. I'll do a little. What colour do they? They have probably pale whiskers. You can't see them. Anyway, that's fine. So there it is. Wow. Scary kitty cat. Soft kitty. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. That just sounds like an insult, actually, accusing me of being intoxicated. Oh, thank you, Ian. Thank you, making up for the insult by tipping me. That's good. Thank you very much. Very nice indeed. Nice save. Nice save. Can you still see me? I just pressed the button and I'm not sure what I did. Oh yes, it probably, well, at London prices, I don't know, I haven't been to a pub for a good few years. I can't remember the last time I went to a pub. At London prices, it probably is more than that, but I don't know, because I know if somebody said, do you want to get me a drink, do you want a drink, and I'd say that, they'd go, ooh, because I know at one particular gig, ages ago, it must be like not even this decade, not even the last decade, probably the decade before that, I had a gig at a place called the World's End, not in Camden, World's End in Finsbury Park, and it wasn't really a paid gig so much as we had to fly for it beforehand, and the deal was if you fly for it, then you get a drink, a free drink, and you fly for it, you get the drink and you do the comedy. And I was like, all right, fair enough. I mean, I applied for it for about 2 hours, so I did that, and you got a little voucher. I gave the voucher to the bar person, thinking that they were in on the deal, and they were like, I said, oh, can I have a glass of red wine, please? And they're like, oh, are you sure you don't want to make it a big glass? I'm like, oh, okay then, thank you very much. He's like, oh, I'm just going to go and open a new bottle. So off he went to get the bottle, and he gave me a big glass of wine, which apparently cost £4.50 for that big glass of wine. I was like, oh, thank you very much. And then a couple of months later, I did another gig for the same people, and and there was a limit of £3 on the drinks. I was like, oh, there's a limit. And they're like, oh yes, because last time somebody, we did have no limit, but people were being really ridiculous. One time somebody had a drink that cost £4.50, and I was like, oh, well actually that was me, and I'm going to admit it because nobody said they weren't. I did think that the barman looked a little bit like when I gave him the voucher, but you know, it's like whatever. Gin and tonic, I don't know. I'm just naming drinks now, aren't I? Naming drinks. Oops, there's a moth in here. So yeah, just do you remember my elephant? My elephant that doesn't look like an elephant. Maybe I'll work on that while I'm here. Make him look a bit more, or her, or them. Make them look a little bit more like an elephant. Have I seen an elephant fly? Oh, there's a new version of Dumbo. Is there a live action version of Dumbo? Have I imagined that? Like a live action version of Dumbo that isn't as racist and doesn't have weird crows in it. Or does have the crows, but they're not racist crows. Have I just imagined that? I'm just trying to imagine whether there is a live action version of Dumbo. Because now I've actually said it out loud, it sounds unlikely. Been watching a few Disney films lately. I was watching, what's it called? Luca, the new one. I haven't seen it all. We're watching it in school because somebody's got Disney Plus, and I'm not sure about that because it seems an awful lot. I mean, have you seen? Very recently, I saw the film. Can't remember the film. I saw a film and I can't remember the film. Yeah, an elephant. Matt Hancock, the elephant. Yeah, the Jungle Book was live action, wasn't it? What on earth am I thinking? Yeah, Call Me By Your Name, that's it. Anyway, I've watched the first few minutes of Luca, and it's an awful lot like Call Me By Your Name, only without any without a peach. That's the only difference, it doesn't have a peach. It's also an awful lot like The Little Mermaid. Like The Little Mermaid crossed with Call Me By Your Name. Oh, I've just made that elephant look ever so scary with that weird, strange eye in the wrong place there. I think the eye should have been a bit lower down. Yeah, so I'm not sure what they were going for with Luca. I mean, I did read an article where they said, I mean, the similarities with Call Me By Your Name were evident, I think, but I did look it up, and apparently the person that wrote it said, oh, well, I am a fan of that person, the person that directed that work, but that's not what it's supposed to be about. It's about people that are different, but not like that. So it's like, okay, well, you can't tell people what to think your film's about once you've made it, because it is about that. That's what it is now. Sorry if that's not what you thought your film was about, but it is now. Another film that I started watching on Netflix was called Dancing Queens, about this girl that dresses up as a drag queen. And I haven't finished seeing it because it was a bit boring. Buffering? Am I buffering? Traditional animation? Yeah. Bring back traditional animation. Why not? So it's a Swedish film. It's basically this girl called Dylan wants to be a dancer, and then she, for some reason, decides to say yes to somebody that says, hey, do you want to be a cleaner in a drag queen show? She's like, yeah, but then the choreographer says, hey, I need somebody to fill in for somebody else, and realises that she's a great dancer, And immediately she goes, hey, then I will be pretending to be a drag queen. And they were like, you can actually, as a woman, be a drag queen still. You don't have to pretend to be not a woman in order to be a drag queen, because these days you can be anybody you want to be. What's the point in this? I do like Victor Victoria, which is based on the film First a Girl, which is also based on a I don't know what the... Oh, thank you very much. It's also based on a German film that's not called First a Girl, and I can't remember what it is called. But that's Jessie Matthews is in that. Jessie Matthews, yes. Who was also in Evergreen. Jessie Matthews is a big star in Britain. She was the British version of Eleanor Powell, or more likely of Ruby Keeler. She's better dancing than Ruby Keeler, but she's a very similar type to Ruby Keeler. Do you know who Ruby Keeler is? Look her up. Thank you. It probably will buy me in out of Aldi. If I was going to go to Aldi, then haven't ventured out of the house to go to any shops. I've got a I got a voucher for Iceland recently, because I ordered from them for the first time, and they gave me £5 off buying. They already gave me £5 off if I got certain things, but there's a £30. You don't get free delivery unless it's £30. So I put the £5 voucher on it, and it took it right under £30, and so I had to order more stuff in order to get the free delivery. I was like, that's a bit of a con, because I didn't actually want anything. I just wanted my £5 of free stuff, and then I had to order more stuff in order to get the £5 of... That's not too bad. I'm going to just leave that. It looks a little bit like a weirdly shaped baby elephant, and it's not entirely stupid. I'm going to just leave that. Leave it while you can. Yeah, anyway. So, Iceland. They're on my list. But then... Thank you very much, Ian. Twice, Ian. Thank you very much. But then they sent me another thing saying, you've got £5 off for ordering for us for the first time. And if you order by the 9th of July, you get another £2 off. And I'm like, yeah, that's all very well, but you're going to make me order more than I need in order to get that £7, aren't you? Yes, and also I don't need any shopping before then, because I already did the shopping. So I'm like, oh no, I've got £7 off shopping, but I'm going to have to spend a lot more than that. It's a false economy, isn't it? Spending all that thing. Although, I found out recently that there's all sorts of shortages coming. Like sardines. It's a good job I don't want any sardines, because I tried to order some for my parents, because I do their shopping as well. And they were, none to be had. Pilchards as well. Pilchards, you could only get pilchards in chili sauce, which was more expensive, and they couldn't get their own brand. The Tesco they didn't have any own brand pilchards or sardines or anything like that. You could only get the more expensive ones, and I was like, ooh, that's worrying. Not that I wanted any sardines, but when I used to get sardines, and they were like 30 to 40p for a can, and they were horrible. But I used to, hello, old school gaming. But thank you very much, the Jax Films. But football aftermatch. Anyway, what was I saying? Something about rubbish, probably. Somebody said something about football, and my dad just told me before I came on here that Wales lost against Denmark, which is bad for Wales, but it's good for Denmark. And also, I know somebody that had like a sort of not a sweepstake, but they just picked the team that they're going to support out of a hat, and they had Denmark in the draw, and they don't get anything for it, just the glory of Denmark winning if Denmark wins. So it's good for them, if not for Wales, which I should be supporting, really, it being my home country. But I'm not really a football fan. I'm sorry. The only time that I really supported football at any time was, I think it was the 1997 or 8 World Cup. Whichever year it was that there was a World Cup, it was either 97 or 98. And it was I've said this before, it was the same year that I had my journalism exams, and I had a driving test, and so I was doing shorthand, and I was terrible at shorthand. I was like, I have to get over 100 words a minute in order to pass this, and I was like really struggling. And also I did loads of driving tests, like I was doing I don't think they were knocked out. They got as far as they got. I think they were second in their whatever it is section, and then they lost to Denmark, so that's them out. Yeah, something like that. But they were in until then. But yeah, so the World Cup, I was supporting it because I think my mind went a bit wrong because I was like, yeah, because I've been doing so many driving tests. Instead of just doing driving lessons, I do the test and fail the test and then book another test for 2 weeks and then do the test again. So it didn't take me that long to learn to drive. Like I started in the December, and by the September following, I had passed it. But in the meantime, I'd had so many tests that I was like, test, fail the test, fail the test, fail the test. I don't even know how many. It was more than 7, and I think it was less than 10. But I lost count of how, because I was just like, because I was doing driving tests and I was doing the shorthand exams, my journalism exams to be a journalist, and at the same time as all of this, I decided to watch the World Cup. And I did. I'm not a religious person, but I was like, hey God, please can you make it so that either I pass my journalism or I pass my my driving test, or England, who were Wales wasn't in it at that time, England wins the World Cup. And then I passed my driving test and I did get 100 words a minute. But then England didn't win the World Cup. So that's entirely my fault for doing a deal. Sorry about that, England. Sorry, not sorry, because I'm not English. So that's my fault completely. But I really did want them to win. I was really into it that year. Really into it. I was like, yay, go football people. I know nothing about football, but I really got into it. And I've never got into it since because obviously they didn't win, and so that's that. That deal's done. End of that. Hee hee. Not my fault, really. I can't be blamed, really, can I? Maybe I can. I'm not going to let myself be blamed, though. I've got another canvas here. What shall I draw on my canvas while I'm waiting for you? Look, I've got 2 canvases. Canvae. That's not the plural of canvas, and well, you know it. 2 canvases is not canvae. Canvey Island. Canva Island. Canvas Island. Dee. Yes, it probably wasn't my... It's definitely not my fault. But I did pass my driving test. And, you know, and that was good because I got a job in the Brecon and Radnor Express on the... It was only £8,000 a year, so it wasn't an amazing job, really. But on the proviso that when they took me on, they're like, well, you can only stay on if you pass your driving test within a month. And I'm like, because I'd already told them, this is it. I didn't realise that this is a trick because I didn't realise they were doing some sort of... They were getting bought out and they need to inflate their staff and make it look like they were a bigger operation than they were. I don't really know the significance of this really, but this is what I was told later, that they were taking on loads of people and moving things about in order to make it look like a different, more attractive proposition and sell it for more, something like that. But they told me when they took me on that I would get sacked if I didn't pass my driving test in a month. And I'd already said in the interview that I'd taken it loads of times and I'd completely failed it. So I think they were relying on the fact that I was going to fail it again because I know I took a day off and I did the driving test and I passed it. And I was amazed and I just went sauntering back into work and I'm la-di-da-di-da-di-da, da-da-da-da-da, doing my work, la-la-la-la-la. And they're like, oh, did you pass your driving test? And I'm like, yeah. And they were like... And I was like, well, that's a funny reaction. But then I found out that they were being taken over and they didn't really want me to stay at all. So very shortly after that, they did me a deal. They said, hey, you can either go to the Radnor part of the Brecon and Radnor Express, and I'd got quite settled in Brecon at the time, or you can go to the Ross Gazette. And I'm like... Well, I don't want to go to... I'd been to a sort of Radnorshire. I was like, what's the Ross Gazette? All right. And they showed it me, and it was weird, and it had, like, poetry in it. And I was like, wow. I was like, let's go to the Ross Gazette. But then they also did me a deal, and this is my... Because I just bought a car, and it was a 17-year-old Ford Fiesta. It was a Ford Fiesta that I bought and lovingly brought back to life. Not really. I sprayed it. It had holes in it. It was falling apart. I think it was a cut and, what do you call, cut and shut, whatever it. It smelled of horses. They'd had about 8 owners. Somebody that owned a horse had a sticker on the back saying I love horses. So it smelled of horses. It was horrible. And it didn't really go. It sort of, every time it went over 60, you couldn't do much with it. And so I got rid of that car because it was rubbish. And I sold it. I thought it wasn't going to get through its MOT. And I sold it to somebody else that lived in the same house as me. It was like lodgings for I think 50 quid, which is, I think I spent £200 on it, and the insurance was more than that. And then it passed its MOT and I was like, damn. But at the Brecon and Radnor Express, they let me borrow one of the company's cars in order to do things like go to the because the county court was in Radnor, I think, or somewhere, Bilthwells. The county court was in Bilthwells, that's it. So I was driving up and using it, and I was hopeless at driving. Like, I'd go on the motorway, and I'd go, why is this car funny? And then I'd realise that I'd left the handbrake on, and I'd be like, oh no. Anyway, one of the sweetener deals, they said, hey, it's only going to, you're going to get paid still £8,000 at the Ross Gazette, and you've got more responsibility. But hey, we've decided to give you the company car. And I was like, no thanks. Oh no, I still had the car at that point, that's it. I did have that car because I was like, oh, I'm going to keep my Ford Fiesta. I didn't get rid of it till after I'd moved to, I remember now. So I said no thanks to this perfectly good, lovely car because I had this piece of junk car instead. And so I drove all the way to Ross to see Ross Gazette and I drove down a country lane, and I drove straight into like a gutter on a country lane that turns out to have been more or less where Fred West did his stuff around there. And I was like, no, because there was like an old farmhouse, and it was like really creepy and dogs were barking. I was like, oh no. And I went in there and I was like, oh, I'm not scaring you. It's so I kept driving this car. It's not fuselage, the bit at the back with the pipe thing at the back fell off, and it was dragging on the floor. So I had to drive it sort of to the nearest little village and beg somebody to help me to get it to a garage. So I got it to a garage and had it fixed there. So I put a lot into this, and it was this piece of awful. It never stayed. It kept stopping in the middle of motorways and stuff. It was a terrible car. But I said no to the perfectly good car because of pride. Now, pride goeth before a fall, doesn't it? And it also goeth before... It's just like, why did you not say... The only regret I've got in life... I've got other regrets. I've got a lot of regrets. But I'm going to pretend that the only regret I had in life was not saying yes to this car. Because I think they would have let me keep this car. Like, I could have just said, it's my car. And I think that's what because I thought that they were just going to make me bring it and it would be the company car for the Ross Gazette rather than my car. But I think I probably could have got away with going, this is my car now, and then I'd have had a perfectly good car that wouldn't have fallen apart in the middle of nowhere and I could have sold it for more than 50 quid and it would have been fine. Anyway, that was you got towed just after pass. Yeah, anyway, so that was... I sold my car for 50 quid, and I've never had a car since, because you can't get another car for 50 quid. No, not even a rubbish car. And so I never had a car since, and then I moved to London shortly afterwards, not bought a car, not driven for a long time. After all the hell I went through trying to pass that test, I spent loads of money, all the money I had, trying to pass that test. And England didn't win the World Cup because of me. It's all my fault. And then I haven't even driven for all this time. And now it's 2021, isn't it? 2021 now. So it would be 21 years since I've driven. Because I'm 140 million years old. That's what I'm going to say. Yes, that's how old I am. 140 million years old. So I've never driven since, even though I passed my test. So that's great. That was a complete waste of time. And this is my brilliant picture that I've done. Look, there's a pink dot in the middle of It's Very. Did you see the film, the play Art? That's when I first moved to London. I found out that if you queued up, you could get returns. You could get returns on plays. Like if people hadn't turned up, you could get them for £10. So I went to the West End every Saturday. I used to go to the West End and I used to look around, and I'd either go and see a film, or this one time I was like, I'm going to see a play. So I queued up and I went to see the play Art, and it had Sean Hughes in it, and that guy that wasn't Warren, what's his name, the other one from DL and Pascoe, and somebody else in Art. And they were younger than the normal cast of Art, but the whole thing about Art, it's all about a very valuable painting that looks exactly like this. And the whole play is about the nature of art. The nature of art. The nature of art. I went to see a few years before that the British Art Show in Cardiff, and there was a picture that was made of elephant dung. Not an elephant, it wasn't a picture of an elephant. Chrysophilia, I think it was. And it was very, very controversial at the time. I remember that. Chrysophilia's elephant dung picture. It wasn't a picture of an elephant. So there you go. Art. The nature of art. What is art? Is my life art? Probably not. Yes. That's very deep and meaningful and so profound. Profound. I love elephants. Gold. I didn't use gold. Oh, did I have gold? Oh yeah, I did have gold. Where are they? I can't even find where they've gone. I did have some gold there, didn't I? Oh, there it is. Yes, my metallic paint. Ooh, it's just all fallen on the floor. I didn't use gold, did I? No. Maybe I'll make something. I'll put, that's not gold. This one's gold. Yeah, this one's gold. Yeah, I'll put some gold, and then I'll put some little cat. I'll put some gold on my picture. Hi Ed Edits. Oh, haven't seen you for a while. So I'll put some gold on my picture before I finish this off. A gold elephant. Pink elephant's on display. It's not display, but if I say on parade at the same place as I say that, then that becomes copyright. But there's not a song about elephants on display, is there? No, so that's okay. So yeah, there's my gold apple, and I'll just put some more highlights in it. Yay, gold apple. Gold, 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 gold. Make it more round and juicy. More golden than an apple can ever hope to be. Maybe I'll put gold on the snail. A golden snail. There you go. Golden highlights on my snail. Can't really see it, but it's a golden snail made of gold. Yeah. Ooh, that's the thing that I did there. I think it was supposed to be a cat. Looks like a spooky ghost. No, it's gold. I'll put it all gold on it. Gold. There you go. Now it's a wolf made of gold. A golden wolf. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? You think that the RAF should paint their aircraft gold? Yeah, why not? Why ever not? Makes as much sense as anything, doesn't it? Yeah. So, everything's great, isn't it? I'm going to go to Wales in a month's time. I did actually book a Welsh course to do, but I mistimed that, so I'm going to have to, when they get back to me going, these are the details of your Welsh course, I will go, well, because it's like all day, and I'm still working that week, and so I've let everyone down there. You can learn a lot from artists, yes. You can learn a lot from me, because I am an artist. How do I know? Because I've said I'm an artist, and the way that you know somebody's an artist is they tell you that they're an artist. Otherwise, You go, is this art? Yes. How do you know? Because I am an artist and I say it is art. It is art. Thank you very much, Ian. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take it and run with it. Oh, that's my robot woman. Put some gold hair on my robot woman. There you go. Robot woman with gold hair. Woo, 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 woo. Anyway, I'm going to go now and leave you to it. And yeah, so thank you very much for joining me. As always, this is what you get for this week because I have not got round to making any pre-recorded videos, even though I've done loads of footage of me in the garden digging things up. I got very scratched from being in the garden, even though I had gloves and sleeves on. The trouble with brambles is they're very, very spiky. And I got quite far, and I'd done so much work in the garden. And then I'm going away to Wales for 2 months, and then I'm going to come back and it's going to look exactly the same as when I left it. No, not when I left it, when I did all the work, before I did the work, because that's what happens, everything grows and it's going to be covered again. But you know, it's like painting the Forth Bridge, isn't it? Okay, I'll see you then next week. Thank you very much for joining me and my art. See ya. Bye-bye. Farewell.